I want to take this Friday morning to take one last look at a passage marked by chapter 3 and verse 16. And it comes to us from the Old Testament book of prophecy penned by the prophet Joel. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Friday. Joel's prophecy was written during a time when a black cloud of locusts had descended to devour the land as a judgment from God for Judah's sin. So Joel uses this occasion to proclaim God's message of judgment over this world and all its inhabitants. He speaks of things like mourning. He calls for their recognizing the day of the Lord to come. He even talks about a call to repentance for his people. And then the final judgment that he will bring on the proud and this evil world around us. By the way, Joel is also famous for his declaration that God will one day pour out his Spirit on all flesh so that young men will see visions and old men will dream dreams, and God will show his wonders in this world. But he says in Joel 3, verse 16, the Lord also will roar from Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. The heavens and the earth will shake, but the Lord will be a shelter to his people and the strength of the children of Israel. This world is not prepared for the days when the Lord will roar from Zion. This week we had a violent storm. It had some winds with up to 70 miles an hour, and it was enough to bring fear into any person who was watching or listening to it. And it did a lot of damage around us here. But when the Bible speaks of the Lord roaring from Zion, it will be so much more than just a loud sound that comes out of the Middle East. He has already spoken about the sun and the moon growing dark. He tells us in those last days of judgment, the stars will even diminish in their brightness. You know, so many people in our world today study the stars. We know that sailors have used them to map out courses, but God will show his power over all of nature when he roars from Zion. He mentions clearly that in this prophecy, God will utter his voice from Jerusalem. Now, some say that this was fulfilled when his people returned from captivity, but many others say that this prophecy is yet to be fulfilled in our day, where God will speak from Jerusalem. Now, I believe today for all those rioters and demonstrators who are crying out against Israel, they'd better read the Bible. They better know what the prophecy says that is going to be fulfilled in our day. See what these days look like whenever God roars from Zion, or he speaks from Jerusalem. Verse 16 describes the work of God by saying, the heavens and the earth will shake. You know, I'm a little fearful today about the crazy things that are going on in the world around us, that may be a sign of the end times when God's going to shake the heavens and the earth, even with just his voice. The comfort in this passage, by the way, comes when he says, but the Lord will be a shelter for his people. God will provide all the protection and the shielding needed against the enemies of this world. If he can roar and shake this world, he can also cover his chosen ones with security and safety. He ends the verse by saying, he will be the strength of the children of Israel. I realize that Israel has a strong army today, but God will be their strength against the nations around them. Joel says in verse 17, so shall you know that I am the Lord your God dwelling in Zion. In the midst of a great judgment being brought into this evil world, God promises his presence. And when we can hear God roaring from Zion, we will know he also has a protective place for us, his followers. And in the latter verses, he speaks of great blessings, of things to come. God promises for those who trust in him.